Hey there! I just want to share to you an advocacy for the Indigenous people. You might be asking or wondering, who are these Indigenous people? So they are the ones that are produced, still growing, living, or developing community, and they are occurring natively and naturally in a particular region or environment. For me, they are the ones that needs to be respected and focused more by the government, for they are more like the less privileged because they were not given the opportunity same as the urban cities or communities. So the first advocacy that I have is the government must need to focus on the priorities. Indigenous people can choose their own way of life. They get control over their own education, healthcare, and so on, unless their lands are secure. That's the overwhelming priority. All other issues are secondary, and if their land rights are recognized, tribal peoples thrive. If they're not, the outlook is bleak. So the second advocacy here is that we must include Indigenous people in discussions of land use. This is an important key to ponder as well, because without land, Indigenous people have no livelihood, no identity, no means of survival. So in this context, states need to respect the principle of free, prior, and informed consent. Well, the next advocacy is building public awareness, because I do believe that it is very beneficial and significant for the Indigenous people and Indigenous communities. Because building public awareness, it is an informed public education and awareness building that is critical though to the implementation of Indigenous rights. But, however, this is a responsibility of all and for everyone. There is a lot of mistrust for good reason, but how we inform ourselves and understand our own complicity in policies that sustains the need for production, profit, and exploitation is absolutely necessary. We can then begin to understand the impact on Indigenous peoples, their territories, and lands. The fourth one is recognize their role in conservation. Indigenous people's key role in conservation, which is often one of the reasons used for their eviction, that needs to be recognized also by the government. Indigenous people's dependence on the land for food, shelter, identity, and survival that has resulted in deep respect for that land and a need to conserve it. Indigenous peoples traditionally develop a set of conservation measures that are passed down from one generation to the next, and as a result, they should be seen as the best people to conserve that land. And the next is encouraging the state to fulfill wider rights. There is a human right to education and a human right to an adequate standard of living. And there is also a right to development. So basically speaking, I would like to say that just like us, people living in the urban areas or urban cities, Indigenous people should also be given chances to go to school, to live comfortably and conveniently. They should be offered and prioritized more by the certain organizations that were upheld and implemented by the government. These organizations must be taken advantage by these determined and hardworking people.